My name is Emily, and 3 months ago, I thought I was happily married. Today, I'm officially a divorced woman, all because of one text message. One stupid, short, 8-word message that I was never supposed to see. It said, "Last night was perfect. I miss you already." And it wasn't sent to me. It was sent to my husband. If you had met us a year ago, you would have thought we were the perfect couple. I'm 33, a nurse. My husband, well, my ex-husband, Mark, is 36 and works as a project manager for a construction company. We had been together for 9 years, married for 7. We had a small but cozy apartment, a golden retriever named Daisy, and a Sunday morning routine that felt like home. Pancakes, coffee, and old movies. People used to tell us, "You two are made for each other." And I believed them. I really did. I wasn't naive. I knew relationships weren't like the movies. We had our fights, our frustrations, our stressful days. But cheating, betrayal, that belonged to other people's stories. Not mine. Never mine. At least, that's what I thought. The first red flag was small. So small that I almost laughed at myself for noticing it. Mark started working late more often. Now, he always had busy periods at work, especially when they had deadlines. So when he said, "I'll be late again, don't wait up," I didn't feel worried. I felt proud. I thought he was working hard for our future, for us. But then, little things began to pile up. He started taking his phone with him everywhere, to the bathroom, to the shower. Even when he went to take the trash out, his phone was always in his pocket. One night I joked, "Are you and your phone in a relationship now?" He laughed, but it was the wrong kind of laugh. Forced, short. "Work's annoying," he said. "They keep messaging me. I just need to stay on top of things." And that was the second red flag. The word, they, work, them. Always an invisible group he could hide behind. Weeks went by. Our cozy routines slowly disappeared. No more Sunday pancakes. No more movie nights. He started sitting on the far end of the couch. He stopped reaching for my hand. He stopped noticing when I put on a new dress or when I came home exhausted from a night shift. One evening, after he'd come home late for the 3rd time that week, I tried to talk to him. "Mark," I said gently, "is everything okay between us?" He sighed, rubbed his forehead, and said, "I'm just tired, Em. Work is killing me. I don't have the energy for emotional conversations right now, okay?" Emotional conversations. That's what I was to him now. A chore, a task to avoid. I went to bed alone that night. I lay next to the cold, empty side of the bed and told myself, "It's just a phase. He loves you. You're overthinking this." I wish I had listened to my intuition instead of my denial. It was a Thursday, the night that changed everything. I had just come back from a late shift at the hospital. It was past midnight. I was exhausted, and every part of my body ached. When I opened the front door, the apartment was dark. Mark had told me earlier he was going out with some coworkers for drinks after work. Nothing unusual. Except, something felt off. Daisy didn't run to the door like she usually did. She was lying on the couch, her head down. I smiled and whispered, "Hey baby, did Daddy come home late again?" She wagged her tail weakly. That's when I saw it. Mark's phone, on the coffee table, unlocked. Now, here's the part where people judge. This is where you shouldn't look at his phone. This is where trust matters. But I want you to pause and think about something. Why would a loyal husband hide his phone for months and then suddenly leave it unlocked and unattended? No passcode, no lock screen, just open, like it was inviting me. My hands were shaking, but I picked it up. There were several unread notifications, emails, work messages, and one from an unknown number. At least, it was unknown to me. The preview showed just 3 words. "When's our next?" My heart jumped into my throat. I opened the message thread. There it was, a full conversation, dozens of messages, flirty, intimate, emotional, not just physical. The most recent message, sent 1 hour ago, said, "Last night was perfect. I miss you already." My vision blurred, My ears started to ring. Everything inside me went numb. I scrolled up. My fingers felt heavy. I love how safe I feel with you. You make me feel alive again. I hate going home after seeing you. Home. That was me. That was our apartment. So, who was she? Her name was saved as M. Yoga. Yoga. Mark didn't do yoga, and we didn't know anyone named M from yoga. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I wanted to wake him up and scream until my throat was raw. But he wasn't home yet. He was still out with coworkers. Or with her. I stood there, in the living room, staring at his phone. The trail has a strange way of making time feel unreal. Minutes felt like hours. My mind raced with 1,000 thoughts. Was it my fault? Was I not enough? Was I too tired, too busy, too stressed? How long had this been going on? 3 weeks? 3 months? Longer? Every memory of us suddenly felt fake. Our wedding vows, the nights we stayed up talking, the promises we made, all of it cracked, like glass hitting concrete. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Instead, I did something very calm, very unlike me. I took a screenshot of the conversation and sent it to my own phone. Then I put his phone back on the table, exactly where it had been, and I waited. It was almost 1:30 a.m. when Mark finally walked through the door. He smelled like alcohol, and a perfume I didn't recognize. He froze when he saw me sitting on the couch, wide awake, in the dark. "Oh, hey," he said awkwardly. "You're still up?" I stared at him. My voice was cold when I asked, "How was your night?" He shrugged. "Fine. Just drinks. You know, the usual." I nodded slowly, and then I said, "Did you have a good time with yoga?" His face drained of color. What?" he stammered. "What are you talking about?" I leaned forward, picked up his phone, and handed it to him. "You left your phone here," I said. It was unlocked. I watched his eyes flicker to the screen, then back to me. He didn't even open it. He didn't need to. I already knew, and he knew that I knew. Silence. It felt heavy, like the air was made of stone. "Emily, it's not what you think," he finally whispered. I laughed, a broken, bitter laugh. "Oh, really? Because I think you've been sleeping with someone else. I think you've been lying to me for months. I think our marriage is a joke to you. So please, tell me, what do I think?" He looked at the floor, then quietly he said, "It just happened." Those 3 words, "It just happened," as if he had tripped and fallen into her bed. I asked him how long it had been going on. He said, "A few months." I asked him who she was. He said, "She teaches a yoga class near my work." We started talking. I didn't plan it, I swear. I don't even know how it got this far. I told him cheating isn't something you accidentally fall into. It's a series of choices. He chose to text her. He chose to meet her. He chose not to tell me. He chose to betray me. He kept repeating, "I was unhappy. You were always tired. We barely spent time together. So now it was my fault. Because I worked 12-hour shifts taking care of sick people. Because I trusted him enough not to babysit him." I realized something in that moment. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry he got caught. I asked him one final question. "Do you love her?" Silence. His eyes filled with tears. He didn't answer. And that silence hurt more than any word he could have said. I stood up. My hands were still shaking, but my voice was steady when I said, "You know what hurts the most, Mark? It's not that you cheated. It's that you turned me into a fool in my own story. You looked me in the eyes day after day and chose to lie." I took off my wedding ring and put it on the coffee table. "This is the last time you get to lie to me," I said. "Tomorrow, I'm calling a lawyer." He begged. He cried. He said it was a mistake. He said he'd end it, go to therapy, do anything. But I had already seen the messages, the way he spoke to her, the way he said he felt alive with her. No matter what he said, I knew one thing. I would never feel safe with him again. The weeks after that were a blur. There were tears. There were sleepless nights. There were moments where I doubted myself and thought, maybe I should give him another chance. But every time that thought appeared, I went back and read the screenshots I had saved. His words, her words, my broken trust. And I remembered that forgiveness doesn't mean self-destruction. We filed for divorce. He moved out. Daisy stayed with me. We split the furniture, the money, the memories. But he doesn't get to keep my future. That belongs to me. Now, 3 months later, people ask me, "Do you regret checking his phone?" No, I don't. Because the truth was already there. I just chose to stop looking away. Here's what I learned. If something feels off, listen to your intuition. Love should not require you to ignore your own pain. And loyalty is not a luxury. It's the bare minimum. His betrayal broke my heart, but it didn't break me. I am rebuilding, slowly, quietly, stronger than before. And if you're listening to this and you've been where I am, if you've stared at a phone, at a message, at a truth you never wanted to see, I want you to hear this. You are not stupid. You are not unlovable. You are not to blame for someone else's betrayal. Sometimes the person who breaks your heart is the one who teaches you how to finally protect it. This was my story. Just one story from Broken Heart Stories. If my experience resonated with you, if you've ever been betrayed, lied to, or left behind, you're not alone. Subscribe to Broken Heart Stories for more real stories of love, pain, and healing. And if you're ready, you can share your story too.